Hello.
Hello there, how are you?
Hi, Mohamed. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for BPIA Chats today. I am your host, Alexandra Maloney, and I hope everyone is staying safe and lifted during this time. So the purpose of this series is to share the experiences and the insights of members in the international affairs community and hopefully inspire the next generation to explore opportunities in this field. And also, the thoughts and views of our guest speakers are their own and do not reflect the views of BPIA. We are currently streaming live, and this talk will be posted on our IGTV and our YouTube channel afterwards. If you haven't already, please follow Black Professionals in International Affairs on Instagram at IABPIA, as well as our guest speakers whose handle can be found in their flyer on our page. And lastly, we encourage viewers to chime in below in the thread with comments and questions as we continue this talk. So now I will introduce our guest speaker for today. Today we're talking with Mr. Mohamed Abdelrhman, who is a management consultant for a boutique consultancy specializing in digital transformation. Prior to this, he spent time on the civil service fast stream at the UK Ministry of Justice, working on governance and funding of numerous branches of the MOJ. He also has experience at the Bank of England, Lloyds of London, and the Institute of Economic Affairs. Additionally, he holds a position as a mentor to both college and university students, providing advice and expertise on academia, CVs, professional careers, helping to guide the next generation of talent. Mohamed holds a first-class degree in economics from SOAS, University of London. Thank you so much, Mohamed, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Thank you very much.
So I'd like to start off by asking, how is the COVID-19 situation affecting you and the work that you're doing?
So as consultants, a lot of our work is generally you spend Monday to Thursday at the client site. That's how we work. A client bills you. You work Monday to Thursday at the client site, and then Fridays you come back home essentially and go back to the main office. All of that has become remote now. Pretty much all of the work that we can do is stuff that you can work from home. So essentially, I've got my two laptops now, my company one and my client one, and I've just essentially everything's just been transferred. I'm on my laptop at 8:30, 9 o'clock. I'm usually on it all day by lunch, whether it's calls or meetings or whatever we would be doing. Pretty much everything's been transferred. I think that's one of the great things about consulting. You can get stuff done remotely. In terms of generally, the UK, obviously, I'm conscious that you guys have a lot of US viewers, so I'm going to try and keep it equally balanced. The UK has just announced a further 3-week lockdown, which was inevitable and expected. So everyone's just trying to stay at home, stay self-isolating, and just try and minimize it. I know we've got similar sort of rates. Both of our countries were a bit behind the rest of Europe. So trying to minimize that as much as possible and just try and help our health systems, really. But yeah, apart from that, work hasn't really changed too much, I don't think.
But I'm hearing that in the UK, similar to the US right now, the curve is finally starting to flatten. So hopefully folks will continue to keep following the advisories by our governments and be precautious in staying safe. So we're glad that you're doing okay and staying put. So I read a little about you from your bio, but could you tell us some more about what got you to where you are and a little bit about your interest in consulting and what got you into that space?
For sure. So I know you read out my bio. I've done quite a bit of different stuff. I've tried a lot of different things. I've worked in insurance. I've worked at the central bank. I've done think tanks. I've done politics. The civil service, for those who don't know, is the equivalent of the US State Department. So it's essentially, it was a graduate scheme for our State Department. So I've tried a lot of different things. And initially during university, I wanted to go into investment banking. I thought, the money's there. It's maths, it's analysis, it's what I'm good at essentially. when I came down to it, I thought it's not really for me. You know, there's a lot of different stuff there's a lot of factors that played into it. So then I thought, what else could give me that variety? Give me the difference in environment regularly, because I'm someone who likes change. I don't like to be doing the same thing for too long. But where else can I still use my analysis and the skills that I possess? So just looking through different careers, different industries, came across consulting, was introduced to it by a friend. And I started to look into the companies and what they do. And really and truly, I think it was pretty much perfect for me. One, because of the variety of stuff that they do and the industries that they operate in. And two, because of the people that you meet. When you're in the consulting world, you meet a lot of very intelligent people, very, very intelligent people, and people that you can learn from. And for me, while I'm at the stage in my career, you know, I'm still 22. I'm trying to learn as much as possible. Like, this is, we'll probably come on to this later, but your early 20s are possibly the most crucial years of your life, in my opinion. So I think as much as I can learn right now is where I want to be. And that's kind of what led me to consulting, I guess.
I feel the same way. That this is really, and honestly, it seems like your career path, like you've already, you know, if someone were to read your bio and see you, they would think like, oh, this is a 50-year-old person, like who's had a whole lifespan of experiences. So it's amazing that you have done so much and accomplished so much in your age. Sure. So hi everyone. I see we have some new folks who are joining. We're here with our guest speaker for today, Mohamed Abdelrhman, who is a management consultant in the UK. So feel free to drop any comments or questions that you have in the thread below, and we'll do our best. I'll do my best to incorporate those into the questions that I have. So my next question, Mohamed, is mainly I also have to remind myself sometimes that some of our viewers or watchers may be of the younger demographic, you know, just entering college or still high school sometimes. Could you explain what consulting is for those folks?
Sorry, I should have started off with that.
It's okay.
The issue here is there's like a lot of meme pages and there's a running joke around even consultants not really knowing how to explain what they do. So I'll try and phrase it as best as possible. And this is by no means like a general blanket statement. It doesn't work for everyone. Just a disclaimer that this is my view. Consultants essentially are people who are paid to come in and offer their advice and services to companies who may need to use them, whether that be being able to run a project that they may be more experienced in, whether that be helping a company through a transition and assisting their cultural change. It may also be just at the highest levels of management, helping a company to make a strategic decision in, okay, we're losing money, so where do we go from here? How do we kind of figure out where the lost money is coming from, and then how do we adjust it? Because consultants generally have spent quite a long time in the industry, and a lot of the bigger consulting firms have experts throughout the industries, there is always someone that can offer that kind of set of skills, and that's why they're paid so much, quite a significant amount, to be honest, to kind of come in and offer their advice and services. That's what consulting is.
Thank you. And how I like, just to add on a little bit, how I like to explain it to my siblings who are in high school and to other people, I'll say, you know, companies and organizations may have a problem or a challenge that they need to solve, that they may be too close to it to really give an objective or give some, you know, they need that external solution to these. So I always say consultants are just problems, like they're problem solvers. They come in and they help to, you know, alleviate some of these challenges for different organizations or agencies. They're the experts for a lot of these topics. So thank you for sharing that. Hi, I see a few other folks who have just joined. I want to shout out really quick as I see some of our BPIA board members are on, Vannery and Earl. So I want to give a little shout out to you all. Hello, hello. For other folks, I still see people kind of joining in. We're here with our guest speaker today, Mohamed Abdelrhman, who is a management consultant. I'm determined to say it correctly. Who is a management consultant. So feel free to drop any comments or questions that you have in the thread below. So, Mohammed, my next question for you is, what do you like the most about your work, and what are the more challenging aspects of your work, both as a consultant, but also working in your federal space, in the ministry space?
Okay. Yeah, I forgot to add as well. I'm also one of the youth delegates for the UK in terms of the G7 summit, the youth summit. So yeah, I should have put that in my bio, I guess. That's probably half the reason I'm here. Yeah, so I'll try and touch on all of the aspects. In terms of what I like, we'll start off with consulting. It's purely just the variety of things that you can do. I just came off a rotation at one of the world's leading energy companies, and I've just gone into a rotation at one of the world's leading pharmaceutical companies, and it's within 6 months. You can go from this to that. Thanks for mentioning. Sorry, I just saw Valerie's comment. Yeah, within 6 months, you can go from this to that so quickly, and it can change. And like I said, I'm someone who likes change, so that was good for me. The skill set is also a key thing. You develop so quickly. I know everyone likes to claim that they're great at this and Excel and Microsoft Office and digital programs, but actually there's not really anything like being in the job and physically doing things day to day, because that's the best way to learn, like actually physically doing something. In terms of the summit as well, so a bit about the summit for those who don't know, it's essentially a feeder. Stop me, by the way, Alexandria, if I'm like going somewhere I shouldn't. The G7 Youth Summit is a feeder institution to the actual G7 Summit. It works alongside the Women's 7, the Science 7, the University 7, some other countries. Yes, I can discuss. And the way other institutions kind of contribute to what actually gets to the G7 discussion levels. The U7 tries to take the voice of youth across the different representative countries or regions, because the EU is involved as well, and tries to put that forward in one succinct document, which is probably the biggest task, to the G7 leaders, so that they kind of see what the view of the youth around the world is, and take that into account when they're making these executive diplomatic decisions. So the process for each country is different. For us, I heard through a network, it was an application process, and you essentially become one of the representatives for the voice of youth across the UK for us. And then for the US, the YPFP are the organization who do it, I imagine. Similar sort of thing, right? So in terms of, I'm one of 4 delegates for the youth of the UK, which is one thing I love. Like, it's a big thing, major responsibility, very significant, but it's a great opportunity because I've already spoken to so many people, and youth is a wide, technically I think it's like 18 to 30, in some places it's 22 to 30, but it's a wide, very wide range gap, age range, sorry. And I think that's one of the key things that I love as well. It's being able to discuss and debate with so many people, whether they be graduates of politics or economics or social sciences, or not graduates at all, or apprentices, or not just working. Everybody has a voice and everybody has an opinion. I think that should be kind of heard. And I know it's cliche, but it is actually a real thing. And with the U7, I feel like I managed to find that. And now we're doing a lot of work and doing everything we can possible to try and actually make it something tangible, and not just one of those, oh, it's a little program that kind of people run and are on just for the sake of it. We actually do want to try and make a difference. And with the team that we've got, and the people that I've discussed with, I think myself and the other delegates have a really good chance of doing that. So I'm not straying too far away from the question, what do I like the most? I think it's interacting with the people, and having such big responsibility. For me, it's something I thrive on. So that's what I'd say for the summit. And for consulting, I think I address. And then you wanted to know what I found difficult, if I'm correct?
Mm-hmm. Or challenges, different challenges you've come across in working and in the professional environment.
Okay. Balance and time management is definitely a major thing. I work a 9 to 5, which is more like a 7 to 7. And then alongside that, I know a lot of people feel that as well. Alongside that, it's trying to do things at the same time. So we're doing the summit stuff together with my work. I also mentor students on the side. Before school stopped, I was tutoring maths and science to high school kids. It's the balance is the major challenge for me, and it always has been, because I'm trying to do a lot of things at the same time. But I think the more you do it and the more I practice it and the more I realize that some me time is necessary, that's where I try and figure it out. And that's, I think, how I've tried to mold myself and move forward. Another challenge specifically for consulting is you have to travel a lot. You have to travel a significant amount. Anybody who aspires to be a consultant, be ready to travel, whether it be train, plane, sea, whatever it may be. You're working for clients and on behalf of clients, and they're paying money for you to come and work for them. So you have to be ready to travel. It just depends which company you're at. The bigger companies have more international clients. My company is about 300 consultants strong, so most of our clients are domestic. But we also have consultants in the US as well. So a colleague of mine was working in Manchester, which is about a 4-hour train journey for those who don't know the distance from London, and doing that commute daily. So you just have to be ready to travel. So yeah, I think those are the key challenges for me.
I've heard it can be very demanding on your time and personal. And from what I've seen, it seems that I'm sure there are consultants at all different age groups and demographics and folks who stay in the game a lot longer. But it seems that most consultants that I know, for example, are kind of in this peer age group because there's less responsibilities for family and things like that. I have one friend, she works for Deloitte, and she's based in New Jersey. But, you know, one client was up in Ohio, another client was maybe down in, I think, Louisiana or another place. And based in New Jersey, he would go out and fly to each of those places every week. You know, on Tuesday, fly up to Ohio, come back to New Jersey on Wednesday, fly down on Thursday to New Orleans, and come back. So I said, that sounds very demanding.
So here's the thing, right? With that, just to touch on that, sorry, it's when you're young and you've just come into consulting, like you said, you've got less responsibilities in terms of family and kind of people who rely on you. You don't technically have to be there as much generally. I know some people have extenuating circumstances and stuff. But the more you gain experience in the field, and the closer you get to kind of partner level, generally partners start to have the ability to kind of choose what work they want to do. You still have to travel because you're a consultant, but you can kind of mold it, and because of your level of experience and the value that you bring, maybe you can persuade the client to let you work from home twice, or just do more virtual meetings and remote working so you can spend time with family. So at the start, it's very demanding, and it always will be if you're a consultant, but you can try and mold it the more you kind of progress. So there's silver linings.
Thank you. So I see we have questions are coming in here. And one question I saw was from our Civil Service Association here in the state. So I want to say hello to them. Their question is, and so along the lines of a question that I was going to ask. So what are some of the current issues or topics or areas of importance for youth as you are on this G7 committee? Like what the association asks, what's the #1 thing that youth want? So maybe, and I don't know how much you can share. I know the documents have not been released yet, but if there were just any key areas that are important to youth around the globe right now that you've seen.
Okay, there's a few disclaimers here. One is that we haven't started doing our well, we have, but we haven't really done many consultations. So I'm not speaking on the voice of the UK right now. I'm speaking on those that I've spoken to. Climate change is a major thing. I didn't think Valerie's comment just got me. I didn't think this many young people would be kind of focused on it and so passionate about it, but it is a major thing. Like, we obviously know the planet is it's not in the greatest condition right now. Bettering now because people are staying at home and you can see the actual impacts of it, but a lot more people, I think, than I once thought are intrigued by it and focused on environmental change and global climate change and want to do something about it. that has been a comment that I've heard repeatedly speaking to everyone. It just doesn't stop. So that's obviously a key thing. Another thing is education and jobs. The job market is more competitive now than it ever has been, and it's only just getting more competitive. And I feel that's a global trend. It's not just in the UK. It's not just in the States. It's everywhere. Students are graduating with mountains of debt and trying everything possible just to try and clear it by the age of retirement, essentially. Finding jobs that are good for you in terms of the skills that you get and also compensate you well isn't easy. A lot of people are having to compensate. It's just, it pains me and saddens me to see how many kids of young ages are already stressing about jobs. Like, I was in one of my friends told me about a talk that he was giving this morning to a group of 15 and 16-year-olds, and some of them felt pressure to have LinkedIn and felt pressure to start looking for jobs and internships. And this is at the age of 15, like 15, 16. I was outside my house, probably playing football with my friends. Like, it wasn't
right. I was asking, what's for dinner?
Yeah, like, I was not thinking about my LinkedIn at 16 years old, and I was not thinking about what internships I wanted to get when I was at university. So it's kind of scary that I think some kids are losing parts of their childhood because they feel so stressed to focus on it. And it's just the way the job market's working right now, I guess. But we definitely want to do something on that as well. So I think education and jobs, or jobs particularly in the job market, and climate change, for now, is what I can give you as the two most important topics at the moment.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And for folks who are watching, we're here with Mohamed Abdelrhman, who is a management consultant in the UK, speaking on his experience as a consultant, as well as serving on the UK delegation for the Youth G7 Summit this year. Folks may see Vannery Kong and Apsara responding in the thread. She's actually a chair for one of these G7 committees, so that's why she's making some of those comments. But we have another question in the thread. Oh, for folks who are listening, feel free to comment or ask your questions in the thread below. And our next question is from New Star Marketing. The question is, how did you get into the international consulting industry? And maybe you can also share some advice or some tips for folks who are interested in getting into the international consultancy.
Sorry, you dropped off for me there, but I'm assuming, I think I read it earlier, it's how did you get into consulting?
Yeah.
What advice would you give?
And maybe if you could provide some advice for folks who want to get into consulting, international consulting.
Use your network and grow your network as much as possible is the first key thing. This is generally across the board, but in terms of consulting, the job that I'm at now, I managed to get through a friend of mine's sister, who was a senior consultant at the firm, and she got me the assessment center. And then once I got there, it was all for me. And it was all what I brought to the table. But she got me my kind of foot in the door. Use your network and grow your network. When you're at the appropriate age, which is up for debate, grow your LinkedIn, try and connect with as many people as possible, go to networking events, try and connect with like-minded people as well, because you never know who's going to be your door to a job kind of thing.
And that can be supervisors at a job, that could be professors, yep. That can also peers count as our network as well as we move forward in this journey.
Yep. In general, you never know, you never know who will be your route to a job, or to an opportunity, or to whatever it may be. So use your network and don't take anyone or anything for granted. The second route to consulting, I think the earlier you know, the better. When you're at university, apply for internships, apply for spring weeks. They actually help. Because once you're at, specifically for the bigger firms, like if you're talking tier one, which is, I won't get into the technicalities of consulting, but the common names like your McKinseys, your BCGs, your Bains, the earlier you get in, the kind of better, because you get that experience and that exposure to partners and people or senior associates or senior consultants who may kind of aid your applications when you come later on to do them. So yeah, the earlier I think you recognize that you want to do consulting, the better. And the key thing above all else is make sure you add value. You're teaching yourself coding in your spare time, or you're an Excel wizard, or you're just you're great at making PowerPoint presentations and giving them, or pitching or selling. Make sure you bring some sort of value, because getting an interview is kind of like it's your academics, right? That's generally your academics and your past experience is what gets you the interview. If you don't have those, then work on those. That probably should have been point number one. Make sure your academics are stellar. Once you've gone the interview and you're in the assessment center, it's more whether you can do cases, which I'll try and touch on before we finish. Whether you can do cases and what value you bring, because everyone who's going to apply to these consulting firms usually has the academia, they have the past experience, they've all done a million societies, and they do sports and they raise money and they volunteer. It's what you can actually bring to the firm, because at the end of the day, clients are going to pay for you as a service. Like, I'm billed right now as an asset. So if I'm not worth the money, then I'm not really worth the consulting firm having me as part of their workforce. So make sure you can bring some value added. Learn coding if you can, learn digital skills if you can. That's where the industry is going right now. So, yeah.
Thank you. And I'd also like to plug in the importance of soft skills. So being able to communicate and communicate well, both verbal and written, and being able to present information in a way that is easily consumable. So if you see that there's some areas for opportunity for improvement for yourself, that could be you practicing giving presentations in school or at your university or by yourself to your family, on a variety of topics to get you comfortable with presenting information. So I saw that we have, hi everyone, folks are still joining in. Thank you for joining. We're here with Mohamed Abdelrhman, who is a management consultant in the UK. I'm sorry, I hesitate a little bit because
no worries.
Vannery actually has a question for you. Are you looking more to work in the private sector or the public sector?
Vannery with a fire questions. Sorry, yeah, just let me touch on the soft skills. I think soft skills are key, and I need to stop taking things as a given. That's one of the prerequisites when you're interviewing. If you don't have soft skills, generally you will get found out, and they will go along with the interview. But as soon as you leave the interview, they'll make the decision that, I'm sorry, we can't take him or her. Generally, because you're going to be working with clients and you're going to be representing the company that you're working for. So you need to have soft skills. That's a given as well. So very good point. In terms of private versus public sector, without revealing too much of my life plan, I think